today, I will explain to you, and I think I was in the middle of explaining the course schedule and the course structure and what is the sync schedules, the sync hours, and what happens in those hours like today. And then I do know that not everybody is going to be able to attend the class on Wednesday afternoon because you have elective classes as well. And the only class that you really have in your schedule and your calendar is just Tuesday morning. So let's just go right into it, and I will share with you the course schedule. So we have our 1 hour sync block, which is all in your calendar on Tuesday. So that was yesterday from 12:30 to 1:25. Those sessions are live and they're being recorded. That is what I call hour number 1. Hour number 2 is today, Wednesday, 2:25 to 3:25. I'm going to be recording the session, and then it's as if the session was live. So because I haven't taught this class at Humber yet, this is my way of me recording this other part, this hour number 2. Now, it is up to you on how you want to use this hour number 2. You can choose to come, you can choose to listen live, and that's okay. The second thing that you can do is you can work on your lab items. You can work on the assignments. If there is an assignment that is due for that week or the week coming weeks, you can work on the assignment. It's time that you have dedicated that I said. If you can block it, then block it. Make it your time so that you can really focus and work on this class. Then the hour number 3 is the hour following today's hour, from 3:30 to 4:10. And then I'm around. I will be around. Because we're week 1 and we're still structuring, I may very well choose to continue to go on and then continue to go through the material. And then again, it will be all available. And then everybody's going to be able to attend. And you can still choose to stay and listen to the class, or you can drop off and you can start working on the lab items for this week, and the assignment if there is an assignment, or also on the lab items. And this is where I ask you things to do. I ask specific questions, or I guide you to areas so that we can apply what we've learned in class or get ready for a big project, which we are going to have a chance to talk today. So I think what I will do on the first hour is I'm going to go through, continue to talk about the structure and the class, and also introduce you to some of the content. And then for the last hours, I believe would be best spent if we talk about the project and the big project. And I have done a bit of work yesterday on the structure and where we could communicate through that project. So we can discuss that in the second hour for today. So that's a bit of the plan. Are there any questions since yesterday or anything that I have just said? You guys can use chat, you can use live, you can use chat, you can come forward on camera. It's up to you. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. Awesome. Some of you have added me to LinkedIn. Thank you. And as I said, we're a small world, small community. We better connect. This is just the beginning of our journey together, so we may as well connect outside of class. That's also very good. Now, when it comes to talking to me, or if you need to contact me, I've put the contact hours, but really, you have this block of hours is also blocked for us to meet. The second hour for today. You can also schedule time for me if you want in the hour number 3. If you need time as teams to discuss anything in the class, use the hour 3. Send me a course message, and then we can find a time to meet. And then we can talk. We can open a session on collaboration, and then we can do a live session as well. That will be great. So this is one way that you can contact me. If you just need to talk to me about something about the class, then you can use the course material. That's another way that you can contact me as well. And I will share with you when it comes to the project, the design project, the big project that we're trying to solve for. I think we need to have a place where we're going to be able to talk probably very quickly on Teams whatsoever. I have some ideas that we can share together that we can agree on. So while we are in Blackboard, we might as well look at it together. If you don't know, perhaps you have never seen this, there's a calendar option in Blackboard that will show you your assignments that are due. So because I have put all the assignments, and I'm going to show you, they are showing in your calendar with your due date. So we are purple, design thinking. So our first assignment is actually due for next week, but I have a feeling we may not be able to do it. As I said yesterday, we are doing this course as a real course, this real business. So there are things that we may need to adapt, and we adapt because we have dependencies. We have a dependency on our clients, and it's okay. We may have to do our project plan not next week, but the following week. But I will tell you, and we will know. But we should definitely start working on it. There's no reason why we couldn't think about. And I have some calendar functionality because you will see all the assignments that you have to do for this class. So you're going to have organizational analysis on the 18th of March, and then we're going to have design thinking. That's probably, I think, the solution on on April 1st. And then you can see we have the design, the reflective. We have the final presentation as well. So on the very last week, use a calendar. It's very handy for you. It's there. And it's there because I've used the assignments tab as well. Now, course outline and critical path. I encourage you to look at the course outline, but by now you've probably seen it. The critical path is also available here, but we are going to have a chance to discuss it in a bit more detail in this hour, hopefully. But if not, please go in and take a look, and you will see that it's matching the assignment and the schedule. It will give you a little bit more background as to what to expect and what will come at any given time in every week. You will see the topics. The course textbook, so it's suggested, and it's available on ebook. So on the Humber library, it is a textbook that I have used for some of the class material. It's not mandatory, but again, it's just going to help you to better understand what it is this course all about. You're going to hear and be able to go further in depth with certain topics if you want. So it's there for you. It's free, and then it's available online as well. I have a dog. Her name is Mal, and she hates when the guy is cleaning the carpet. So if you hear her barking, it's there's a carpet cleaning person who's making her condo clean and fresh. My apology. She's adorable, but she will bark. Not very often, but this is one of the moments where she barks. This morning, I also had fire alarms. So that's another thing that will get her trigger. But we love those, and I'm sure some of you have animals as well. So the course textbook, it's not mandatory, but it's available online. There was a course textbook that was mentioned in the course outline. If you haven't purchased it, don't. I say don't. This was done before I came, and you're not going to be penalized if you purchased it. Well, again, I still use my course books. I still go back to my course books and my textbook, especially when it comes to organizational, human psychology, people, and behavior. The things that you will learn from the books that you've learned if you bought the book, or the things that you will learn here will stick around for a very long time. We're talking about people, psychology. What do we know about change? Do people like to change, or people don't really like to change? Naturally, easily change. Anybody wants to try to give an answer through the chat or through audio?
I don't think people like change a whole lot.
Are we naturally inclined to change, or we resist change in general?
I think we resist change.
I don't know if someone is talking, but I kind of heard maybe a voice. Yes, we resist change. In general, we don't like change. It makes us very uncomfortable, right? You're young, you're still new, and you're very open to change, and you're very open to learn. You're a sponge. You're curious. You want to learn about new things, about technology. You will find that people are resistant to change as the years will go back. As people, we're not comfortable with change because we feel that we have to adapt something new, learn something new, and we have to perhaps we're going to be evaluated. Maybe our performance will be affected, and maybe even our salary and bonus will be affected. So naturally, we don't really like change. But why I said that is because what will happen is you will learn from the textbook. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you. From the textbook that you may have purchased, they will be and they will stick around for a very long time because they are dealing with people and human behavior. Now, you are in user experience design. You've learned about users. You've learned about some psychology. You've learned about good best practices. Some of the best practices will also stick around for a very long time. So I've been teaching copywriting, and copywriting is all based on also how people read, scanning, all these things. The heuristic evaluation, they came up with Jacob Nielsen 20 years ago. They're still around. They don't really change. In fact, every year he does evaluation. What he does, he changes the pictures and make them more attractive. But the heuristic and what is behind will stay and will stick. So we've covered a course schedule. I'm slowly going through the Blackboard, and now we're going to look at the assignments. I want to share with you to get you give you a feel for what the assignments will look like. So for this class, again, this is the first time that this class is being taught, and which is great. But we may adapt, and maybe even within this class. But I doubt, like I'm trying to go, we want to go with what we have for assignment and the grading and the percentages. Uh, but again, we're managing this class as a business, right? So if we need to make changes, that it will be changes that we will agree on. But we don't have much flexibility on the number of assignment, the percentage of the assignment, but we could probably have some flexibility on maybe how they are structured. But so far, here is a breakdown of what the assignment will look like. We're talking about UX in organizations. We obviously need to do something that will really focus about organizations. What are organizations? And how do we bring the topics that we will learn each week? And then how do we do an analysis of a specific organization? So that will be one of the assignments that we will do, and that's the group. It's one group organizational analysis, and that will be 25% of your mark. There will be more details as we go through the assignment. I want to make sure that you guys still see the screen. Yeah, great, we do. So the organizational assignments, I already have a company. We already have a company that has said, great, yes, we want to work with you. So, and let me share a little bit of how that happened, because I think you guys need to understand what I had to do to be able to even teach the class and have material for you, which is what you will do in real life. And it starts with networking, building a network, networking. So I said, add me to LinkedIn. Let's connect, because you never know if how I can help you at school and how you can help me as well. But I reached out to my network, and I went to LinkedIn, and I said, I'm going to be teaching to Humber. I'm going to be teaching UX, users and design, but primarily focusing on organizational behavior and people. Is there anybody there that would like to welcome us as a class and learn about businesses and be able to learn about how do you apply our topics that will be discussed? So I did a little intro email on LinkedIn. So I said we're going to talk about types and structure of businesses. What kind of businesses are there, and the structures? How are they structured, arranged, organized? Then culture, values, strategy. So what is business culture? What are values? What is business strategy? How is that important? Why is that important to even UX? Then we're going to talk about leadership styles. So what is a good manager? What is a good leader? Who is a good leader? What makes you a good leader? Now, when you hear leadership, some of you may actually think, I need to be a manager. Do you have to be a manager to think and know about good leaderships or leadership skill? Let me ask you the question. So do you guys think that you need to be a manager to even talk about leadership style? Or anybody should be concerned about leadership style? Great. No. Yes. No. We are all leaders. We work with people. Everybody should have leadership skills, right? So the good leaders, we're going to learn about what is a good leader. What will make you a good leader? A team member, being part of a team, you need to be a good leader. And when you hear leadership, you're going to hear influence. How do you influence people? It's not good enough nowadays to have your names and your title that says I have a bachelor degree in design and UX, people will trust and people will say, okay, great. So this person has gone through school, so they probably have a methodology. They've learned a process. They've learned the good things. But I still need to see how that person actually works with me. Why should I believe them? Why should I listen to them? So you're going to learn that. You all need to be able to lead and influence. So we're going to work with a real business to do this part of the assignment, and I think I even put up the name of the business, but we're not going to go into details yet. I'm trying to keep a bit of a suspense. Do we have any questions about that specific assignment? But there is more detail that will come as we go. But you know that there's going to be an assignment where we're going to go to a business, and I think we're going to have our business leader in the business come and probably meet with us. And she has some case studies. She's a director of HR, so she's very, very close to people, and she was really, really keen to help us. So yes, it is. It says it's due in March. Will this be something that happens gradually over the course of the semester? That's a great question, Sarah. So in fact, okay, my advice to you, and I think I have a little bit more details about the organizational analysis. So because it's due in March 18, so you guys can read about this particular assignment, and they're all available online. So some of the assignment have a bit more detail, some of them have less, but this one has a little bit more detail. It's due for March 18, but as we work through the topics, my advice to you would be to start thinking about the topics and thinking about that organization that we're going to be working with, and start thinking about maybe questions or things that you would want to know from the business that we're going to visit. And we're all going to visit the business remote. But the format will be fun, I think, with the. I even put the name of the business and put the name of the leader of what the business will be. I put a little brief with you, okay? So it's called ASP Security. Some of you may have heard of ASP Security. They're doing security. It's a big business. They're doing airport security. And security is such a hot topic nowadays, right? For many, many reasons. And Sarah is the senior director of HR. She's been in HR managing people. She's been with the company for about a year. I worked with her at Sunwing, and she's awesome. You're going to love her. She was really, really excited about this. So yes, you could start thinking about this assignment, even though it's due for March 18. And I would say every week, one of the topic that you feel that we've covered, then you can start thinking about what you could do, what you will do for the assignment, and what we will want to know with Sarah. So yes, you can start thinking. And this is why I also put these assignment up as well for your review. So that is one of the assignment. The second one that you're going to be very, very involved with is the big group project. So we're going to spend more time today to talk about our group project. But that is really the main project. When I say the project, that is the main project that we are going to be coming into a business and we're going to solve. We're going to try to solve the business. I will not give a lot of details because we're going to be speaking about more, especially about that project. But it is worth 50% when you think of it all together. 35 for the actual 4 deliverables, and then you have 10% for participating in the project, and then you have 5% for presenting the final project. Our goal is to have the client to come in at the end, and then we're going to present to them what we found, our solutions. We're going to present our solutions, and we're all going to be participating. And the main goal of the project is to find a solution and do a prototype. I think we're only going to be able to go as far as a prototype. Now, you guys will define how advanced you want to do the prototype. So this is a place where you are third year. You've done a lot of these of what we're going to do in small pieces. But now you're taking all of what you've learned and you're going to apply it to one project, one business problem, one business problem, one project. You are going to pick the approach that you want to follow. You will pick the process. You will pick the research methodology. You will pick based on what you've already learned. And I will be there to facilitate the project with the client, with the customer, and learning about the business, learning about the real project in the business with our clients, and solving for a real business. The company so far that I have approached is Roots Canada. So I don't know if you know Roots, the retail Roots. So you guys want to probably spend a bit of time on trying to learn more about the business. That is something that I've put in this week's lab. But I will go through more details with the project and what we are going to do with them. But really, I still know little. It's for us. We're going to need to define it. So this is real life. I put on LinkedIn, I said, I need a business who wants to work on the big project with my students. I have a class. They're very keen. I've been told they're awesome. And they want to come in and really make a difference and work for a big brand. So Roots, reach out, Roots Canada. Not anybody. The chief of marketing, chief customer experience and marketing of Roots Canada had a message. And he said, I want to work with the students. I want to make a difference. We're talking to the C, the chief plus. So he's like the decision maker for experience, marketing. He manages all of digital. They're going through a complete digital transformation. So, hey, I've been in the business for long and, I can be intimidated, but you shouldn't. It's going to be fun. So, and I know we'll have fun because I'm not alone. There's 10, 15 of us. So we're going to have fun. I will that piece and that project is 50% of your mark for the session. And so far, what I have come up with is 4 deliverables. So there's going to be 4 pieces that we're all going to deliver as in teams. And we're going to have a project plan. So we have to think about what are we going to do? What will be the activities that we're going to do? And then what will be the deadlines for each of our deliverables? And what will be the deliverables? So we're going to need to do all of this as one team, but we're probably going to split pieces and we have a lot of work just to define that big project together. Then we're going to have the discovery stages. So I kind of use what I know of development and design. Discover, define, design, and deliver, or build and deliver. Again, I'm not attached to one way of how we're going to divide it, but I've made a choice, but we can change if we want. And I will share you more visually what that is. And then we're going to deliver and present. So we're going to have 4 deliverables. So one for project plan, one that at the end of discovery, we're going to say, here's what we discovered. And then we're going to share with the client, and the client will be very involved because he knows his business better than we do. We're going to have probably weekly meeting with him as well to do a status report. So it's going to be fun. And then we're going to say, okay, now that we've discovered, here's what we think that we could actually define. So we're going to come up to a definition of what we think a solution could be. Then we're going to start building the prototype or building whatever you guys feel that we can do. And then we're going to deliver, and then we're going to celebrate. We're going to have them to come, and then this is going to be the end of the term. So that is the bigger piece. And what I think that we would also do is we're going to talk about client feedback, giving feedback, receiving feedback. So I asked the client, I said, we probably will want you to participate in giving feedback to the students, how they're doing, and so that you're better prepared and better equipped. And we're going to be working with the chief marketing officer. We're going to be working with a project manager. We're going to be working with UX and design. And I don't know who's on their team, but we're going to find out together. So basically what you should think of, we're using that project as an excuse to go to Roots Canada and discover and learn about them and their product, but you'll be able to do something real that they can use. And you'll be able to say, I did this in my class. I actually worked on the big project for Roots Canada. And I'm telling you, that will make a difference in your career. It will be a very good start. And businesses value Roots, and I think they have a good reputation. And part of a discovery, say, what do people like, what happens with Roots, who are the customer, and I think you'll agree that it's going to be a good experience for you. And sometimes you need those little experiences to really make a difference and get a good start for your career. And if I can share a personal story, I was very fortunate in 1995 to have an opportunity to go and work at Rogers to actually update content. I was updating content online because I was bilingual. But that little update content online brought me to another bigger job, brought me to doing my master's, me to the UX Center, and then a vice president for some businesses and manage teams and not teach and teach what I have learned. And I think Rogers had made a difference. And then it makes a difference for your next employer. So being able to have this on your resume will make a huge career change for you as students. And you're gonna learn from the people that have technology, resources. They use very advanced technology too. And he's very interested about mobile. So what he shared with me, James Connell, the chief marketing officer. They're very interested in the consumer experience, the retail experience, also the mobile, and see what they need to do. Should they have mobile? Should they not have mobile? But we're gonna spend a little bit more time on the big project, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and I'm happy to see that you guys are very excited about the project. And then the next assignment will be the reflective personal journal. So this is a journal. This is going to be a time where you're going to have opportunity to reflect, and I will give you time to think through the class, think through what you learned, and think through the project, and think through what is this, how is this helping you? Where is this making you comfortable? Where is this making you uncomfortable? What are you having challenges with? And so that you can think about, what am I going to do different? What am I going to continue to do because it works well for me? And what am I going to maybe stop doing as well? So and that will be the reflective journal, so you can reflect on your experience through the semester. So you can already start thinking about that, right? From maybe yesterday's class and maybe from today's class, and then in today's presentation. But it's not. If not, then let's just make it available. I have a slide that really talks about the journal, and I'm trying to give you some hints or things that you can start thinking about when you think about your journal, to help you about what you should ask yourself in that journal, to be able to have a very good story. And that will be your own journal. It will be personal for you to keep, and it's 20% of your mark. So these are the assignments. So really, the big piece is our big project, but then we're gonna have our organizational analysis with ASP security. So you're gonna be exposed to another business. We have some flexibility in there too, but I don't want to give too much details about whether or not we do the all of the topics with all ASP, or maybe we want to do one of the topic with another little business. That will be something that I'm also open to. So what do I mean by this? When you think of the topics of types, business types and business structure, maybe we do it with ASP. Values and strategy. Maybe you want to do it with another company that maybe you have access to as well, that maybe is a starter. Maybe you want to do leadership style with something else. Maybe there's something we may want to do with roots. I'm flexible. It doesn't all have to be with ASP. When it comes to the organizational analysis, we could mix and match different businesses if we wanted, but you may need to tap into your network to maybe find these other businesses, or maybe you'll be able to get more businesses. But so far we're going with ASP, with Sarah, ASP, but we may you could decide to use a different businesses, one per topic, or use all ASP for all of the topics. It could be up to you. I'm not necessarily attached. Me, what's important is for you to understand the topics and be able to discover, how do businesses deal with culture, how businesses deal with structures, and how is that affecting user-centered design, or UX, or user experience design, or you as a professional, so that you're well prepared to deal or face these topics when you go to the real world, okay? But as we go through roots, you are going to be exposed to business types and structure. You'll be exposed to culture. You'll be exposed to leadership. You're going to discover, James, we don't know James. we're going to discover the project manager. Maybe we're going to find certain characteristic about his leadership style that you will learn in class, that you will make note in your journal, that maybe you want to be focusing on more on your analysis. And maybe he'll be happy to do interviews just with you to learn more about that particular topic. So we're very, very flexible. And then we have a student negotiated assessment. That was in the course outline. It's 5%. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how to use it. We don't have to make a decision today, but there will be a 5% somewhere that we can actually add. You guys can think. I think it's probably too early to say where are we going to fit the 5%. But if you feel that maybe there's one of the assignment that you may want to put more, you want to say we want to put a 5% in there, we could. If there's something else that you want to do, but we don't have to decide today. But there will be a 5% at some point that we need to see how do we reallocate it. So all of the assignments are in. Some of them have a bit more details than other, and then you have the due dates for each one of them. You guys can look at it on your own. Are there any questions or comments about this so far? Feel free, and as we get closer and closer, we're going to talk more about details. But the first one that we have is design thinking and our project plan. So in the second hour of today, we're going to start talking about that particular project, and then we'll see how far we go. And I feel that we're probably going to have to push it forward to not next week, but the following week. But we'll see. We'll see, and we'll decide as a class. Awesome. Glad to see that that you're excited, Sarah. That's great. Good. So let me go back to the class presentation and just make sure that I don't follow, lose or forget anything. Okay, we talked about this. Okay, I think I talked in through our class since yesterday. I'm gonna be in this class. There's no black and white answer. Sometimes we have to think about what we think the best answer is, or what you would do. Now that you're in year 3 and everything that you've learned, we may have to make decisions that sometimes there's no clear answer to what it will be. So I will help you to actually think or make decisions. We're going to talk about obviously real life scenario. This is all about real life. Where I'm going to look for opportunities to actually teach you maybe something that is transferable. So it's not just about UX or organization, but critical thinking or data analytics. I think there'll be plenty of opportunities because we're going to be dealing in real life. So and then opportunities for you to discover, and you'll see what what we will do for this particularly. But you'll have time where you're actually asked to do things on your own or things on your team, and then we're going to discuss it so that you can see what do I already know, what do I need to go further, and then you can connect pieces, and then we can talk about it. But instead of me giving you the full answer, then you have a chance to actually explore it. Why is this important? It's because you're in class, you're learning, you're teaching, but when you go to real life, you're still going to have a lot of things that you don't know or you may not know. You're going to need to discover. You're going to need to find on your own, right? Which you do. We go to Google all the time. We go to YouTube, we do things. But you will have a chance to even do that in this class. We are in class, we're safe. So I don't expect you to all know everything about organizational behavior. I don't expect you to know about businesses, how we deal with businesses and what we do in businesses. This is why you're here. So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You're not making mistakes, you're learning. And now the difference is you have a chance to have me to be able to say, what about if you do this? Or if you were to consider to do this, then what do you think might have happened? Or you may come to me and say, Yves, what should we do for roots? We have this challenge. And I may say, what do you think you would do? Often we have the solutions, but we just don't feel that we are able to articulate it, or we don't feel confident in doing. This is the place to do this, right? And then asking questions and not being afraid. You have to do that here because it's safe. When you come to real life, when you're going to be with your real customer or stakeholder in the business, They will expect you to add value, ask questions, and make, try. If you don't, this is where they're gonna start doubting. So if you chose UX, right, you chose to do this class, it's because you love people. You like being with people. So I'm assuming you're not necessarily shy, but we may all be, some of us may be introvert. But when you come to business in the real world, people will want to hear from you. They'll be looking at you as the expert. They want to hear you. They want you to help and bring solutions and be active and be engaged. So I hope you will feel that you have more confidence in doing this at the end of this class. And you will have a chance to even do it with a big brand like Roots as well. So that is what I will try to do my best at teaching you as well. So, course overview. I've said it along since the beginning. We are going to solve a real life business problem. We get by leveraging what you do best: design, user experience design, user design, designing, graphic design, everything you've learned. You know very well because you're in year 3. We're going to take this and we're going to go to a real business and we're going to discover the real world. And we'll see how do we behave as people? How do we help the business? But we're really going to be using this because we know we do this the best. But we use this as an excuse to go to Roots Canada and learn about their business. But we're going to give them something that they actually can do something with. So it's twofold. We want to bring value to them, but we want to learn about business. We want to learn about them. We want to learn about their processes, their tools, really cool tools that I think you guys will learn. It will benefit you when you go to the real world because they're dealing with big technology that the big players like Roots Canada or Amazon or even Sunwing or other companies are actually using as well. So I have this little video. It's 1:09. It's really, really short. I'm going to put it up so that you guys can have a chance to hear what is organizational behavior. Okay, so is this going to work? I don't think it's going to work from here. Let me see how I open it. Real in my presentation. Hold on with me. I'm just going to go to the Google Drive. That will be quicker. My apology. This is part of learning Blackboard. The link doesn't work in Blackboard. So as I said, I'm learning the new technology and by all means, I don't know everything and I'm far from being perfect. Being a good leader is also part of admitting the things that we know and where we have things that we may not know, right? Not being shy about it, not being afraid. And I'm sharing this with you because this is part of being who we are. And this is part of what you'll be facing on a daily basis at work. So admitting the things that we need that we just don't know and making it, not a big deal and it's actually cute in the end is perfectly fine and never going to get you in trouble. So here, what we may have to do is, I just don't know how videos actually work very well through Blackboard. Let me paste a link and see if the link actually. Can we even like paste link through Blackboard and put a link in the chat? It looks like I can't even do that. How would that not work? Let's see. So I'm just curious. I don't know why I'm not able to paste that particular link. So it looks like it's running if I'm sharing link. Okay, so what we will do then, I'm going to share that particular screen. Yay. Okay, that's the screen we want. And let's see if the audio is good. This is very slow.
If this sounds like your 2020 so far, it sounds like you need VectorVest, which you can try right now for just 99 cents. VectorVest called February's crash and saved investors millions in their
We love those ads, don't we?
Subscribers to near record highs over the summer. And warned of a second downturn in early September, just before the markets tipped again. Test drive VectorVest, 30 days, just 99 cents. VectorVest, because you deserve a better.
Organizational behavior, OB, is the study of how humans interact in group environments and is a combination of psychology, sociology, economics, and communications. By studying human behavior in groups, OB strives to find ways to improve human efficiency in workplace settings. Human resource managers use OB analysis in improving training programs for increasing job satisfaction and thus reducing employee turnover. In addition, the research and discoveries from OB help organizations develop leaders and promote innovation. Applying OB findings helps managers revise their methods of compensation in the ways in which the organization is configured, all in order to improve performance. OB takes a long-term view of enhancing a company's profitability. Studies have shown that corporations with happy, motivated, engaged employees tend to do better over the long run than companies that do not.
So that was a very, very short video, but you heard a few terms. One of them is OB, organizational behavior. Is there anything else that you guys have that you've noticed or the video has talked about that actually jumped at you in that very little short 1 minute? I know it's very short, but I just wanted to give you a little sense or intro to what OB or organizational behavior might be. Yes, employee turnover, performance as well. So efficiency, making businesses efficient. And also we know that if people are good and if people are doing well at work and if people are happy and they're satisfied, then they will be a lot easier to perform better. And if they're happier, there'll be less people calling in sick and less people leaving the business. And the last thing, when people leave a business, it's really, really expensive because they may leave on term, right? They may leave on sick leave. So you're paying for an employee who's happy at home and not happy and suffering. And meanwhile, you still need to bring in someone and replace them because the work continues. So organizational behavior, and this is something that we're going to be spending a lot of time with, is it's a discipline. You could have chosen to do organizational behavior as a career, but it's this discipline that really touch about user-centered design and people and employees. So we're talking a different users here. We're talking an employee. We're talking an employee who's actually has motive, has motivation. And then if we know that some employees are unhappy or if employees are actually end up leaving the companies, then you have to rehire. You have to hire and then a lot of knowledge, and it really has a big impact on businesses. So I have designed this course a lot around organizational behavior, about people and what people like and what people don't like. And then I will be sharing with you why is this important and what is the bottom line impact And when I say people, this is you. This is me. This is you. This is all of us. So what we do as user experience designer is very important to the business. But let's not forget that we are a human being. We are a human being that has fear, that has feelings, that has emotion. We have a boss. We're going to have a boss. As much as we don't necessarily like having boss, having someone who tells us what to do, what we need to do, the reality is we're going to have someone who's going to give us some direction. You're going to have maybe a boss who's really micromanaging, and that's going to drive you nuts. How do you deal with this, right? So, and when an employee leaves the business, what do you think happens? So let's say that you are the business and there are 3 user experience design like you, and one of them is sick, and they're sick for a long time. What happens? What do you think happens when someone calls sick and when someone leaves? Yes, you take on the workload. You have to cover for them. So what happens then? You get stressed, right? You get stressed because you have high standards. You have to do. You want to do more, and then what you end up is you end up doing less, and you're doing more, but you're doing more of the same thing. And then when you do that, something else is not being done. So this class is about organizational behavior. You will hear OB and user-centered design. In this course particularly, we spend a lot of time discussing the best tool, the best method, what is UX. You've done research, service design, you've done usability testing, you've done IA. But you will find, and this blog will give you more insight on it, is many products will fail not because of bad methods, but because we do not understand people. We do not understand the psychology. We do not understand the behavior. We do not understand the motivation. So, as user centered design, we should know these things. We should be aware of these things because we teach people. We say users are important, but you never had really an opportunity to think of that as you, as the user. What is your role in good user-centered design in the business? And how can you help your success? How can you help the business to be successful? Learning, teaching the things, applying the things that you've learned about good UX design is you're taking that now into you, and you have a chance to apply it to you as an individual, as a human being. So I know it's hard to relate this, but you've been learning about good UX and good psychology and good people. Now it's about you in the business and everything you've learned, and now applying it you to make you successful and understand people and understand businesses. That is what we will do together. So on the source and learn more about the articles, but they really said most projects they fail not because you were not good at UX. In fact, I will share with you, and the case study is very similar to a story that I know. We have a case study, and this person in the case study was very well equipped. She knows very inside out UX user and design, but she came in run into some challenges. She was not well prepared for that business, for what happened in the business, for the business, the people, and the process and everything. So it didn't matter how good she was. There were other things that she was not necessarily paying attention that actually make it even more difficult for her. So this course is all about UX. We're going to talk, well, it's all about business, but we're going to see how do we apply what we know in business, and then how to navigate through the organization. So far you've been speaking a lot of time about methodology, but I will look at how do we take what you've learned and how do we take that and bring it to a business? How do we support our business strategies and the teams? How do we help them meet objectives? Roots Canada has a big project. They have a big ambition. So how do we help them to be successful? So I will not be teaching you very much about the methods. I'm not going to be teaching you this design thinking. I'm not going to be teaching you, in fact, how to do research. I'm actually assuming that you do good. But the good news, I've done and I do and I know how to. But I'm not so much interested about the tools and the methodology and how we're going to get to point B. I'm more interested about getting you to exposure to the business environment and the people and what you need to be aware to be successful no matter where you go. And I assume that you're very good with UX, but I will be able to coach you and teach you about UX specifically. But I'm more interested in looking about you and looking at the business and how what you understand about businesses. The people element, just like in your design, is as important, if not more important than the techniques. So this is the focus. You've been in 3 years now. You know what the Academy Integrity and Plagiarism rules are. Now it's available on Blackboard. Blackboard is our place where we're going to have everything about this course. But I do have an idea of what we will do for the big projects. Do we use Blackboard or do we use something else? I have some ideas about something else to really talk day to day about the roots project, and how do we share documents with deadlines. So for deadlines, if you have late submissions, that's, I think, school policy, 5% per day, up to 5 days. After that, there's a zero. There's also a zero mark if you have the penalty, the late penalties, and it's 0%. We're not going to get to that because you guys are in year 3. But and these are also included in each of the assignments, but you should probably be very familiar with that. Instructions is usually where people lose points is because they haven't really followed all the fully the instructions for the assignments. But the number of assignments for us is somehow limited, and I think the instruction will be straightforward. But if there are questions, if you guys are unclear, you have to tell me because and then I will clarify where we need to clarify. And I'm not taking attendance. I see a strong correlation between attendance and how people do in class, and I'm sure I will see the same. And you guys, I think, will be engaged. You've chosen, and we're a small number. I'll have opportunity to get to know each one, and then I'm pretty sure that you guys will attend class or look at the recording sessions as well. I'm already very happy to see that we have 9 people out of 13, I believe, like even for what is a non-synchronous time. So thank you. Great. Expected commitment. So because this class is all about organizational and behavior and people, I want you to be engaged. Seeing people on cam, you guys are chatting, you guys are coming voice, or you show that you want to be here, which is great. I want you to be open. Be aware. Start to be aware of you as a person, and how you're going to feel in meetings with the clients or us working together on the project. I want you to start thinking about opportunities, seeking opportunities for maybe trying something new, something different. Maybe there's something you want to change. Maybe there's something you're not, you think that you want to change about. And I don't know what that is, but that would be for you to decide when we talk more about your style and your learning style. You're gonna have time to reflect, adapt. We're gonna be in the project, and we probably gonna need to make some changes along the way. How do we deal with change? We're gonna apply what we've learned. We're gonna measure, and then we're gonna be measuring, and we should. Also in our project, do a validation with user as well, so that we are going to be able to measure what we think our prototype or our project will do. I'm not going to go through this because we've already done the class schedule together. We've done the assignments. The philosophy, my course philosophy is teaching new ability. As I said, there'll be some self-assessment, reflecting, and then solving, practicing and solving. We talk about a typical week. So there'll be readings, there'll be class lecture, there'll be lab where you can practice, and there'll be assignments as well that come along, so that we don't need to go in more details. Teams. So the big project, everybody's going to work. We all going to work on the same big project. But I have a plan B as well, and but I don't know if you guys will be interested in plan B or not, but we can discuss it. So you're going to work in teams, and what I also think that you guys would benefit from doing is to think of maybe you select your teams. So it's up to you. So you guys can select the 3 to 4 people that you want to work with. So here's what you need to do between now and the end of the day, or before the end of the week. is on the course message, send me a message for your teams. I need to know who's on your team, who are the names, and then I'll be able to know which teams and who's part of which team. So 3 to 4 people maximum, but you're all going to work on the same project. Find someone that you like to pair up. Find someone that you know well, or someone maybe you don't know so well as well, to take you out of your comfort zone, right? This is part of doing business and learning about psychology and organizational behavior. Sometimes pairing it with someone that we're not as comfortable will force us to maybe think different about us. Maybe they will challenge as well. Maybe that's something you want to try. And the same thing with the teams. Maybe you want to go and pair up with people that you worked with, or maybe you want to pair with people you've never worked with and maybe learn something different. It will be up to you. So it's really, really up to you. So think of someone that maybe you want to pair up as well. You don't have to tell me necessarily who that is, but there will be times where you're going to need to play giving feedback, receiving feedback, hearing what someone else may think of or may view you or has. You're going to do one-on-one. So it will be easier if you have a pair and someone that you could do that ahead of time. If not, then you may be able to do that with someone on your team as part of your 3 or 4 teams. So please, between now and the end of the week, so you have until Friday if you want, is share with me what your teams will be on the course message. That will be great. Are there any questions about teams? Say. Okay. Share with you, and you select your teams. These are the main pillar I've structured the class around. Organization. So anything to do about organization. What is an organization? So type, structure, strategy. What is a business strategy? We hear about strategy. What is really a strategy? Is having different shares or different business layout part of my business strategy or not? Is having different paint color part of my business strategy? Is greeting people in the store when they come in the store with a hot towel to clean their face part of my strategy or not part of strategy? Is trying to reduce my cost for my business part of a strategy or define a strategy? So we're going to talk about strategy, culture, leadership, power, politics, measuring success of business, and also measuring your own success within the business. Then there's going to be a bucket of activities and topics about individuals, you, emotional intelligence, your personality type. How do you build trust? How do you earn trust? How do you receive feedback? How do you attribute success? Attribution, and people sometimes attribute success to external factors. Sometimes you attribute success to your own failure. And what does this mean? What does this do to you? So these are things that you'll be asked to reflect and think about. So if something goes wrong at the project at Roots Canada, are you going to blame the customer or are you going to blame it on yourself? What are the benefits of saying that it's him or her versus you as well? You're going to learn. And then the teams. How do we work in teams? You're already working in teams. You will be working in teams. Decision making. How do we make decisions? How do we deal with conflict? And what is empowerment? And how do we get to influence people? And then I went into more details about each element, organizational elements. So, and then I've put the kind of questions that you can start thinking about to ask yourself for each of those pillars that we're going to be able to go in a lot of details every week. But these little questions on the right-hand side, you can use for your personal journal. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the details of organizationals, and then we've talked about the organizational business. So the organizational business analysis that you will do is all about the organization and all about these elements: structure, strategy, leadership, and management style, and maybe some elements of project management. Then I have more details about the people element. And then emotional intelligence, and then some questions for you to reflect on or think about as well. But as we go through more of these, each elements, you'll have exposure, but you may want to start thinking about these little questions or hints. Same thing with teams. So structure, conflict, what makes successful teams successful? How do you deal with conflict? You personally, How often do you escalate things? So what do you do when you're upset? Do you try to find solutions, or you go to your boss? Do you go to your colleagues? Do you go to your mom? Do you go to your dad? Do you go to your boyfriend or girlfriend or partner? How do you deal? How do you escalate things? How do you handle stress as well? So this is what you will do for each of those pillars, and we're going to have a chance to go in individually in more details. Let me pause here. Do we have any questions? Any questions so far from anything that we've discussed in the first hour? We already have 1 hour, another hour gone, so we have 1 hour left, and we can choose what we will do. I think we're kind of touching now more about the design process. 2 slides total, but I think we should probably continue, and I think we'll have a time to talk about the design, the project. Are you guys okay with the pace? Okay, and do you have any questions? Okay, so for the project design process, this is one of the process. It's called the diamond, the double diamond. I don't even know if you guys are familiar, but I read this through the curriculum, and then I had done a bit of research on that process. In terms of the process we're going to follow for our project, it's really up to you. We can use this, we can use any other process, any other methodology that you guys have used or come across. Maybe you can decide as a team what it is, and I'm okay with that. But I'm not attached to one process. I'm more interested about what are we going to do and what do we need to do. So I have a little bit of a visual for our critical path that is available in Blackboard. But really, when you think of this class, okay, just to give you a bit of where are we going and what are we dealing with, is I have done this little visual map. So we pretty much can think of four key milestone. And as you remember, I have 4 milestones for the big project. And in the total 35%, and then plus 10% for presentation, and 5% or 10 for participation, and 5% I think for presentation, 50 total. But we have 4 main milestones, but I think we have 4 stages that we somehow need to go through as a team. Discover, we talk about discovery, and I think that is starting now, and that will probably take us to mid-February. And then I share with you what will be some of the topics and some of the activities that we'll do in. And I also put the assignments. We have the design thinking project plan that we have to think that will define what each of those stages in a little bit more details and the activities that we're going to do. Okay, so the project plan was for next week, but I doubt it will be done for next week, but we are going to start this week. So that will give us the discovery, and then we're going to have a discovery summary milestone that will be in February, and that is part of the assignment. But we have a few things we're going to need to do to be able to come to a place where we know here's what we found about roots, and then the business, the strategy, the challenges, and anything that we will decide that we will be trying to discover about and find more. Then we're going to have a defined definition. So we're going to be defining what are we going to do? What are we going to do for roots? What are we going to do? What will be the solution for the problem that roots is trying to solve for? Then some of the activities that we currently going to do. Secondary research, some site visits or remote site visit. Everything's going to be remote. Some client sign off, and then maybe we're going to have some things that will change on us. We don't know. Okay, and then March and April, we're going to be developing, we're going to be building, whatever we're building, and I think it's going to be a prototype. Then we're going to have a set of activities. There, we're probably going to do brainstorm, site visit again, prototype testing, and then client sign-off. And then I have the assignments, organizational analysis is due in March, and then the project define, solutioning. And then our delivery, April and May. So this is where we're going to have a final presentation. We're probably going to do a post-mortem. How did we do? We're going to hear from the client. We're going to give feedback to the client too. And the client will accept or sign off. We're going to have team feedback. You guys will give feedback to each other. And then you can have your assignment, which is delivering the prototype, and your reflective journal. And then I have this notion of role rotation, and I will explain a little bit more. And then for each of the buckets in here that I have some outlines of what the topics. So this is a bit of the sequence. This is a sequence of what the topics will come in, assignments. So it's one graph at a glance for you to make yourself comfortable with. And then the other slide that talks about some of the teaching activities, but I don't think you need to go into great depth about those. The weekly paired topic discovery. So I've said one of my teaching philosophies or learn on your own, and then we talk about the particular topic. So here's what I would like to try and do with this class is I would like at the beginning of each class to have one of the team or one of the pair to come and introduce the topic to us. 5 minutes, really, really fast, very short, okay? And then you would take the topic of the following week, and then you would just find what you can about this topic and choose how you want to present or introduce a topic to your class on the following week. And you will have the first 5 minutes just for you to come forward and talk about what is the particular topic. So it's very short, 5 minutes, imagine, maximum 10, so that you can introduce a topic, and then I will go into the topics. But I will give each one a chance to do a bit of discovery. You guys can do in pair, you can do with your teams. It's really up to you. And I would like for people to volunteer. I'd like for people to think about a topic that you may be interested in. And here's a good example of how you could actually get out of your comfort zone is pick a topic you may not really be familiar with. Challenge yourself. Get out of your comfort zone. This will happen all the time. There might be things sometimes I teach that I may not be all familiar. I have to learn about the topic. So this is an opportunity for you to try things new. And this will be very good in your journal. Very good to reflect on how did you feel? And we're learning. So what I would like to do is I would like to have people, like maybe some people to maybe volunteer for next week's topic and introduce the topic for next week. And next week's topic is, let's just go to week 1. So next week's topic is organizational behavior and types. So we are already going in like deep down in the core of it, organizational behavior and then in the workplace. So organizational behavior and types. So you want to think about if this is a topic that you will be interested in leading for next week, then I'm looking for volunteer to come forward. Again, you're not being assessed. You're not going to be marked on this, but this is only for you, and this is going to be fun for you. So organizational types. So the critical path, organizational types. If this is a topic that you guys would be interested, great. So Sarah, we have Sarah as volunteer. You can do it, Sarah, by yourself. You can do it with someone else. So thank you. So I have Sarah as next week. This is awesome. And the topic, it's really just 5 minutes. Thank you. 5 minutes. Just types, and then you don't have to spend too much time, because I know you're very busy, but very, very good that you're stepping out of your comfort zone and you're being the first one to icebreaker for a topic. So we're going to do that every week. Thank you so much. I have you down for next week, and you can do verbally, you can present, you can show us a slide. It's up to you. There's no specific format. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay, the team structure. So now we're kind of talking a little bit more about the team structure. But before I go to the team structure, I would say let's skip this team structure. I give you a little bit more details about how we're going to be grading the different deliverables that you have for the 4 deliverables. Maybe the project plan does not necessarily follow this specific format. But how am I going to divide up the marking for each of the deliverable? Like, remember, discovery, the solution, and then the deliver. I'm going to be using that as the guideline. So look at it. Don't don't try to remember all of it because it's almost going to be impossible. But these are the things that I will be interested in when I review the different deliverables that you guys are going to be producing. But we do have flexibility on what the deliverables will look like because we haven't necessarily defined it yet as a class. Then your reflective journal. So this is where you can think, you can reflect, you can start reflecting about your own learning in your individually, or you can do this with your coach as well. But the sooner you start writing down what is happening for you in the class, the easier it will be to do your big journal at the end. So don't wait to the end. Don't leave it to the end. Daily, almost weekly, try to write down the things that have bugged you or the things that have surprised you. And I give you a bunch of things that you can think of. This is where you can also discuss with your coach. You can take 10 minutes weekly and discuss together. How did you apply this week's learning? What challenge did you face? What are some of your fears? What are you worried about? Maybe you're worried about a lot of things right now. Write them down. How did you feel in each situation? What is your motivation level? Try to keep track of your motivation level over the course of the semester as well. That will say something about how consistent you are. And if you find that you're not necessarily consistent, maybe people are noticing around you too. And do you think that maybe that has an effect or not on people's perception of you? I don't know. How did you make decisions? Did we have to make decisions? How did you take each of the topics as well that we discovered? But go through the questions. And then what do you think you could start and keep as well? So on the right-hand side then, if you're going to choose to do touch base with your coach, then maybe you want to be a little bit prepared. Maybe the two of you want to set some time, decide on the time. You probably want to ask for feedback. Maybe you want to give feedback. So you can start practicing giving feedback, constructive feedback. Maybe you need to Google on how do we give good feedback or not. And then what I thought that I would do as well is maybe each week, and this will be the time now that I would do this, is I could actually say, hey, Sarah, I'd like to be your coach this week. Do you want to share with me what you've done? So that would be a way for me to actually connect with you and get to know you. And then I'd like to do that with each one if I can. And just to get to know you and really this is a time where you can connect with me one-on-one. And then I hear from you how the class is doing. You can share. You pick. It can be as structured or as we want. But you can use these questions, these things, to share with me how is the class going and what you're learning from you. So that is something that I would like to do. I don't know if you guys like this idea, and if at any point you want to come forward and say, can I share with you some of my journal or can you coach for the week this week? I will be happy to do that as well. But I will make the point to actually reach out to some of you every week and say, I'd like for you I'd like to be your coach, or I'd like to hear or also receive feedback myself. So what I could do with that is I could probably tell you at which point or who do I think it will be, or I can keep it as a secret so that you guys are really, really preparing. Actually, I prefer to keep it as a secret because somehow you have to prepare, and you may not know if I will be picking you, but at least you are going through the process. So I'd like to suggest, and I don't know what you guys think about this idea, but I bring it forward as well. But definitely for your reflective journal, very important that you do you're on your own. And then as of next week, I can start picking maybe someone and say, I would like to be your coach. And then we'll see if I need to adjust. And it's not going to be a very long conversation because we're going to need to do other things as well. So yes, it is an opportunity to check in. And then, yes, when we're far, we don't have that physical presence. So I thought you guys would like this idea. That's awesome. Then I've shared with you what I think the overall grading for your reflective journal may include. Again, if you do it every week, it'll be a lot easier. On this slide 36, you have a little bit more details that you can look at when it comes to your journal. Okay, are there any questions? And we still have a few slides to go through. Do we have questions about any of the logistic? I think we're kind of moving away now from the course and structure and logistic to probably going into more of the essence of the class. If you guys do, that's okay. You can think about it anytime between now and the next class, or send me a course message. I'll be more than happy. One of the lab this week is practicing running an effective status meeting with a client. So I thought next week we would have a kickoff with our clients, but I don't think it will happen because I'm still working on logistic with Roots Canada. But if it's not this week, then at some point we're going to need to run, you're going to need to run in your teams a role play. How do I run an effective status meeting? And what is even a status meeting? And what are some of the rules in the status meeting? Because what we're going to do is we're going to need to have a regular status meeting with Roots Canada so that we can inform them about how is our project going. And we're going to do the project plan. So that is something we're going to start today. We're going to do our project plan. Then we're going to need to update Roots on where are we and how are things doing? Or has anything changed for them too? And then also, if we know that we have regular meetings, that we talk with them, then this is an opportunity for us. Sometime, make a list of things that we know we want to discuss with them. So it's coming prepared. But we're going to need to be engaged with Roots outside of the status meeting, because every week we're going to need to do something for our project. You're going to have things to do. And then you're going to have a direct access to someone at Roots to be able to help you and give you the answers that we need. But then I was planning that probably every week or second week, we're going to have a status meeting. We're definitely going to have a kickoff with Roots. So once we have everything in place with them, and I will explain you what that is, then we're going to have a kickoff and say, here are the students. I'm going to introduce the class. I'm going to introduce the students. You're going to have a chance to meet Roots and meet James and the project manager as well. Let me just get the name of... So in the project brief, so my main contact at Roots is James Connell, but there's a project manager. His name is Matthew Ryan. So, and that is available in the project brief for assignment, if it's one of the assignments. So the assignment is called Design Thinking Project Plan. So that's our first assignment. You guys want to look at it definitely today or sometime in the next few days. The Design Thinking Project Plan. This is where you're going to learn about the brief, and this is where you're going to learn about even the legal. You'll see everything that I had to do to get us to this stage. So Matthew will be your project manager. Matthew, and maybe he's going to give you a name for the UX designer there that you'll be able to talk to. But we're going to be talking to them outside of the weekly meetings. But on the weekly meetings, where we have the meetings, we need to know what it is that we are going to do with them. This is what you will do real life. You will have a lot of meetings, in fact. Sometimes you will find that you're spending more time in meetings than you're actually spending time doing the work. And we're not going to be teaching you how do you arrange that, how do you prevent that. But if you find that you're spending more time in meetings than doing the work, that's a bit of a red sign. That's something that maybe you need to, maybe it's a company culture. So let's talk about company culture. Some company do meetings, and they will do meetings for everything. And some companies actually try to change that. They try to move away from long meetings to less meetings and be more agile and have more small meetings. But it takes time to change. But for some company, having meetings it's part of their culture. Or having fewer meetings is also can sometimes be part of the culture. So we will discover with Roots as well. But maybe that is something that you want to list and say, what is ASP? Philosophy about meetings, having meetings, how effective are meetings, how do we conduct meetings? So I have shared here with you some of the ground rules to run effective meetings. So you probably it's part of one of your reading. Be familiar with them, and then you're going to need to role play. But I don't think you'll be able to role play this week. But if not this week, then we may have to move it to next week. Because here we have a dependency of our clients to be ready. But you could run, if you want, your role play with your teams of running an effective meeting. So in the assignment, I speak of that and I make a suggestion of what you could do. If you feel that you want to try it this week, you can. But we're going to need to do this before we have our first status meeting or kickoff meeting with James. So I will be probably the one who's going to be facilitating the meeting initially. At the very beginning, because I'll introduce you, I'll introduce the class. What I love is I like for the project manager to actually introduce the update of their projects as well. Okay, I'm going to come back to the class and the project, the team. So you're going to form teams, 3 to 4 people. And you can select who you want to work with for teams. But here's some small details about what I think the teams will need to do. We all going to work on the same project. So we all do on routes. And we all going to have, everybody's going to have a huge role to play. But we're going to need to see how do we divide up the activities. We cannot necessarily be working on all the things. Or maybe you guys will all say we can all work on the same thing at the same time. I don't know. But that's something that we're going to need to define together. But let's go through this particular slide. So we all win or we all fail, but no one's going to fail. We all going to win. We all learning, but we all in this together. But there will be opportunities for me, and I will know if someone is participating or not participating. If someone is really entirely not participating, and I will know how, because I will feel it and I will see it, but I will hear and I will know it from all the team members. If someone is not participating, you could actually end up with no marks, okay? It's very important that everybody's participating. And I had people in other courses that I have taught, that have not participated and they got 0 for the main project, and it was 40% of their final grade. If I see that someone is taking advantage and they're following and they're not in doing, you will not get away with all a team project. But if I know, and because I hear and people are telling me that someone is actually not even engaged and participated and has delivered little to nothing, you're not going to get all the points. So this is very, very serious. I expect everybody to participate, everybody to be engaged in the project. We all need each other. And in fact, I will tell you, this is a big project. This is a big project that we are undertaking. And there's no way that I could do it alone. So I need everybody. I need all of the class. And this is real. This is reality. We as a team, we are 13. We need everybody to be involved because it's a short, I'm telling you, 14 weeks will go fast. For a business of the size of Roots Canada, they will probably going to take some time to get back to us. That's part of the game. So we are coming as guests. As much as they're happy and excited, we're coming as guests. They have a delivery. So I had to get James and Roots to know what our milestone, we thought the milestone will be, but it's their project. It's really their milestone. They're inviting us. We have to be kind. They are busy. He has a lot to look at. So we are coming in. We don't want to be distracting them. We want to enhance. We want to make them. We want to help them with their challenges. But this is a real project for them. So they have other things that will happen in the project. We have to be aware of this. But I need everybody. Everybody needs everybody to be able to play a part because we have a lot of things that we need to do. There will be delays. There will be last minute. There will be changes. We will need to adapt, but we will do it together. But everybody has to be involved. So here's what I was thinking in terms of the team lead. So maybe there was a notion that maybe if we're gonna have 3 teams or 4 teams of 3 to 4 people, it's gonna be hard for us to. I don't think we're gonna be able to talk. Everybody's gonna be able to email everybody to Matthew, the project manager, because he's gonna get like 15 emails from all of us. So we need to have like some points of think or agree on some point of communication. When do we talk to Roots, and then do we have a few people that we know that will be the point of contact between our teams and Roots, and then do we do a rotation of that? So let me explain to you. So perhaps, do we need a main point of contact, 1 or 2 point of contact? I think we may need to have 1 main point of contact per teams. So maybe or maybe not. But we're brainstorming, and this is real life. Okay, as I said, there's no one recipe. It doesn't matter how long I've done this. I'm sharing with you what you will be facing, and then we'll define and we'll decide on that together. So there are 13 of us, and then we have 1 client, and then we have James, who's the chief marketing officer. James, the marketing officer, he's not going to be able to talk to us every day. He's really busy. He probably has a team of 150 to 200 people. But he was kind enough to reach out and say, I want to make a difference. Now we have Matthew. Matthew is the project manager. So there's 13 of us. If the 13 of us communicate with Matthew, that's going to be a bit of a challenge, right? And especially if we start communicating with him for the same thing, then he's going to say, hey, these children, they don't talk to one another. Then we don't want that, right? We want to show like we're really, really, really tight. So how do we maybe solve for this? But we have work to do. We all have our pieces, and maybe each of us will have a question that we want to ask to the clients, right? So one way that we can do is that we say that we have 1 or 2 points of contact within us, the 13, the 14. We have 1 or 2 points of contact at any given points that we can go to and say, Sarah, I'm working on benchmark. I'm using your nerve. So when I see your Dave, it's good you're waving. I'm using you as an example. But maybe Sarah is our lead or point of contact for one of the teams, or maybe for all of us for a week or 2 or 3 weeks. We don't know. Then we can go to Sarah and say, Sarah, I'm actually working on benchmark, and I'm actually having a challenge because I need to have the name of the competitor of Roots. But I'm waiting for Matthew and I haven't heard. So then Sarah becomes my point of contact. Then maybe there's Alisa. Alisa has a question and she needs something from Roots as well. Then she have something from Roots. Can you think that you can help me? So that's one possibility. And then maybe we have Sarah. Maybe we have someone else who's in the class. Maybe we have Allison, who's also a point of contact. Or maybe we just have 1. I don't know. So I'm still thinking through this, okay? But I don't think that we want the 13 of us to actually send emails to Matthew. But maybe Matthew will say, I'm okay. I don't know Matthew. I don't know how Matthew works. So I am, again, just sharing with you. Say, it's okay if the 13 student actually reach out to me. I'm used to do this, and I think it'll be more efficient, it'll be faster. So we kind of have to have a bit of a plan or have a bit of an idea. How are we going to communicate daily with them? Does he want all of us to communicate, or do we want at least to funnel us through the students so that we don't all ask the same thing to Matthew? Because if we all ask the same thing to Matthew, he'll say, the students are not speaking, right? So that is one thing that we think. And I thought maybe at some point we probably have to have a main point of contact. Then also, that point of contact will help us to escalate challenges. Maybe that point of contact will be able to tell us to the 13 that maybe something has changed at Roots. Because now I was saying, if we all need something from Roots, then how do we talk to them? But if Roots needs something to tell us, it's probably easier for Matthew to talk to one person who then tells us, right, when there's something. So there's also that benefit. So there would be a role of a team lead. So let's just think about this. We don't have to decide, but there will be a role of a team lead, point of contact, for the reasons that I've listed. So that is one. Maybe there's a role for a project manager that would really, really be paying attention to, are we on schedule? What is it that we said that we're going to do this week? Are we on schedule? And then let's say that that Anne is responsible for doing putting together the research. We're going to do a validation, a user research, right? Maybe there's going to be one team that's going to do it's going to help us to do the user research. Maybe there's going to be one team, one of the 3 or 4 teams in this project that will do more of what about the discovery, but we're going to help them. We're going to support them in discovery. Maybe so that project manager would actually make sure that everybody is doing the things they're supposed to do. Everybody is on time. Everybody is doing what we need, so that when we report on a weekly basis, we're reporting, and then we make sure, and that person will make sure that we are delivering and we are okay and we don't have challenges or obstacles. And then that person may actually report and be the one who's going to facilitate the weekly timing as well and keep this all very organized. That is a role that you will see in businesses that could help us. And maybe what we may find is the team lead or the project manager may be the same person. We don't really know yet. Maybe there's one person who's doing all of this, or maybe we have a team lead, and maybe we have a project manager. And then I said, perhaps we rotate so that everybody, or some of you, have a chance to be the team lead or be the project manager for 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks over the course of 14 weeks, so that you get to experiment. What is it to be a collaborator where I support the project manager, or be that project manager, or be that point of contact for Matthew? You would get exposure and experience outside of doing UX design, or the work or the activity that you will do. Okay. So, and then there's a role of contributors. So there are 13 of us. We're all going to contribute, and I will help you on the project. But I'm really looking at you and the class to really, really feel that this is your project, and I'm going to help you and support you. And then we can define what we think the activities will be and what we think the deliverables will be that we're going to do for the customer at each of the stages. And but I want to feel that this is your project and you guys are learning to manage, and I'll be there as a coach and as in support. And but I want to make this real, that we follow a structure that you will find in business. And there's not one solution. There's not one way to do it. But there's a way. I think defining the roles and having point of contacts may actually solve for us and solve for them. So at this point, we don't have to agree. We don't have to make a decision. I see Sarah is nodding, so I think she's saying it's actually so far so good. Do we have any feedback? Do you guys have any insight or any feedback so far about the team structure when it comes for like the big project, for anything into a bit more details? We're really going into now more of the project, the big project itself, which I'm probably going to be calling this big project quite often. Do we think that we're going in the right place, in the right direction? We don't have to make commitment yet, but do we feel that we're going into the right direction? That is also, you guys can let me know, and if you need time to think about it, that's okay too. Have you guys in any other classes done something similar, like having a big project within an organization and having 13 students all working on the same project, and then how was it? How did it go? Okay, someone has it in the other program. How is it going? Or how was it? Was it similar? Hi, Lisa.
Hi. So I did it for my web development, but we did it with 2 different clients.
Yeah.
So one was more of a startup. The other one was more of a bigger company. So with the startup, how it worked was that the assignment was that it was like one big topic, and then our whole class was actually divided into groups. Okay. And then we each were given a specific problem to solve, but all together it was it just was put together. So, but it was not really, so like one team was responsible for like marketing, the other one was responsible for UX, but I guess in our case it'll be just UX, and then another one for development, and then all of us would collaborate And how we communicated with the client was that each of the each member or each group had like a project leader and a team leader in each. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 people, and then during our interaction with the client, all the kind of leaders and project managers for each of those teams would sit together during like a Zoom conference. And then after that, pretty much we discuss with them. And then later on afterwards, we go to our individual teams. And then also we would have even meetings together between the teams. If only one team example would communicate with the client while the other 2 weren't present. And then when it came to the larger company, they gave us a solution, like a challenge. And then instead of working together, each of our groups were coming up with individual solutions to the challenge. And then there's like a member again for each of those teams. And you would speak with the client, and then later on, each team would propose their solution in the end. So I don't know which would work for our case because we don't know what the project is about. So
okay. Good. Well, I'm really, really happy, Alisa, to hear your story because I think what you guys did was good and it worked well and it's somehow similar and you have experiences, so we're gonna learn and maybe you want to participate, maybe and help as one of the leads. Everybody's gonna help and everybody's participate. That makes me feel good.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, good. So perfect. Thank you. And I have your name down as maybe a potential lead for one of your teams
I
as
don't
well.
mind. That's okay. I'm okay with that.
Listen, as I said, I want everybody to have a chance. Everybody to have a chance to be engaged and participate in anyhow. Everybody's going to be participating. So whether we're collaborating or contributing, whether we're doing a bit more project management or team leads, maybe whether we are the ones that are talking to the clients for the status bidding, I think there's going to be room for everybody to try something. In this, you can take this as far as you want as an individual. And that's part of me is when I said, this is an opportunity to learn, get out of your comfort zone, play, try something different, something new. What we could also do in the weekly meetings, we could have people that are leading the discussion with the client, but maybe we have people watching and listening what is said, what's on. Because remember, we are here to spy and learn about the business, organizational, their culture, how they talk, communication. Who's leading the conversation at Roots? Is it very top down? Is Matthew allowed to make decisions? All these things. So the more ears, the more we'll be able to do analysis or whatever. Okay, this is awesome. I'm seeing some conversation in the chat, so this is good. Mine was a branding project. It didn't go very well, to be honest, because we got very little communication from the client. Also, we were assigned random groups, so it was hard working with people with whom we never met before. At the end of the day, we're all going to be working together on the same project. So, but yes, if you feel that there's certain people you want to pair up with, 3 to 4 in your team, that's good. I'm okay with that. But we all going to need to work. We all going to depend, and I depend on all of you for this to be successful. We want to have a very good story so that everybody gets excited about next for year 2 to come in year 3 and do the class with us. And that's really our end goal. That's how we define success. I want you to feel that you learned, and we want the school to get excited about this class and say, wow, they've done something cool. Okay, so that's good, and thank you, and Alisa for sharing. Sarah, BDS students did a project with a small theater company. Oh yes, was this Northwood? And that was great. We also organized an entire workshop for exchange students that came in from this university. That's awesome. So I think I'm doing something similar for the IA class I'm teaching with the theater company. Maybe it's the same. So it sounds like you guys have good experiences, and this is great. And I'm not surprised because I've been told you guys have done some very good work with some other teachers that I also know. Very reassuring. Okay. And on this topic, so I think what we may need to do every week or maybe every second week, but we don't know yet, is maybe we're going to have a 30-minute weekly meeting with the client. So perhaps all or perhaps just the client, the leads, will have a status meeting with the client just to report. on, and then we're going to have a 30-minute debrief. So you guys will be able to debrief with each of your respective team and say, here's what happened, here's what we've learned, right? So that is what we could do. We could do all of this together, or we could do this as teams. And then we have time to work. The team will have time to work on these. And then within the hour, so this hour that we're working on right now it almost sounds like this is a think hour and a lecture hour, but really we're building the foundation. But hopefully, starting early next week and the following weeks, this hour will be about to do this, to be able to do that as well. And maybe if we need more time, we may choose to do some time outside of class. And I think, in fact, that you're probably going to need some time outside to work on your projects and activities as teams. But you do know that we have dedicated time that we can have clients communication, the more formal communication of reporting and status. But we will find a way that you can talk to the client and as a need basis when you need throughout the week as well. But there will be, we can block a full hour, which could be this hour or even the hour before prior, to work on the activities. Maybe we're gonna find our hour that we have on Tuesday morning is sufficient for the topic to introduce the topic. And then the Wednesday afternoon will be 1 hour full for the full project with the client, if we have the client. And then Mia can support as well your team as you work on the activities in that block. So hopefully moving forward, the Wednesday afternoon block will be just about the project. So, but we don't know yet, but we have flexibility, we have options, and I'm glad to hear that you guys have done, and it worked well for some and maybe most of you. Okay, so start thinking about, we have 2 minutes left for today's class. Start thinking about this project, the teams, your team, your project, your structure. We have to start thinking about what we think will be the big buckets for the projects. Examples of the big activities, maybe competitive research, maybe looking at data, analytics, user research, prototyping. Maybe we need to start thinking about what that will be so that we can start bucking it and start thinking about our project plan and what it is that we are going to do. And maybe we're going to start ownership. So maybe there's that notion of, because there are 13 of us, we all are responsible for the projects. We all have our pieces. We all have to participate. But maybe one team will be responsible to do the usability research. Then we let that team is accountable. They have to make sure they deliver on the usability research, and it will support them. But they're also going to support us for other pieces as well, because usability research will come later on, right? So that is something that we will define as we do our plan. Then I said, everybody will need to participate. I will be looking for feedback from everyone on how everybody has participated. And if you don't participate to the point that I feel that you should get 0 points, then that might happen. Don't want that to happen. Decision makings, we're going to see how do we decide, how do we make decisions. But really, we're going to know, it's going to be easy to make decisions when we know the projects, the client, the customer, and what we're trying to do. And the communication flow, we've already started talking about the communication flow. So what I like is think about the roles. Think definitely about your team. Start thinking about the roles that we think that we need to have. So activities and maybe roles. What will be the activities and what will be the roles? And look at the structure. Think about this. And now what we have to think about is, if you guys are going to be meeting to talk about this, I'm open to meet with the class outside of our hour that we have scheduled on Tuesday, outside of this 2 block of hours if we need to, so that we can start thinking and really think about our project plan. I'm open. So if you guys have time between now and the end of the week or before next class, and you feel that you would like to brainstorm or spend time, please feel free to invite me or message me, and then we can do that. Now, what I need from you is the name of the class, the teams, your teams, who's going to be on your teams, And then I can communicate through course message as well if there's anything more specific that I want to communicate about this class, this project, the big project. It's definitely a big piece. I have also been looking, should we use a group? Should we have teams? I even created something on Planner. I don't know if you guys have used Planner, but I'd like for you to start thinking about that too. Planner, teams. For the project, we could have an environment outside of Blackboard to really be able to all be in one place. All of our files or documents that we can share, we can all work together, we can chat on Teams if we need to, and we can do what looks like a project plan in Planner. You guys all have access to Microsoft 365 or 360. Look at Planner. I've already started, and I think I've added one of you as a test. So I don't know, maybe it's Allison. I've added someone in Planner, I believe, in this class. Let me know if you've got access. Maybe this is the place, or maybe you guys have other suggestions of other tools that you've used. Okay, that would be awesome. We're done for our hour 3. Unbelievable. Week 1 is behind us, but you have to, and my recommendation is look at the plan for the labs and the activities that I suggested for the labs that you guys should really be going through if you want to really take advantage of the class. Some of it is touching the project plan, and then you can share with me through the course message what you may have found in going through the project brief for this project. There was also something about the case studies. So I would really like for the case studies, but maybe what I can do for the case studies is I can maybe move the case studies to next week, or if you guys feel that you have time to look at the case studies, please do, and then we can discuss, or maybe we can spend more time on the case study for next week as well. But we just have so much that we need to do. But I thought a case study will be a good exposure for you to really what is organizational behavior in this week's class. You could spend some time, and it's not very long. It's not very long, but we do need to spend time on the project and really start thinking about the details of that big project as well. So I hope you enjoyed the week. If I feel that I need to maybe communicate through the course message to the class, then I will. But I want to thank you. I'm excited. I hope you are excited too, and available, and I will be happy to assist and help you. I can see that my Blackboard has frozen again, but I think you guys can hear me. So enjoy the rest of your week, and I'm reachable. And thank you, and I look forward to next Tuesday. Have a great weekend.